Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Racing Bros NASCAR Podcast, episode 13 extravaganza. We're going to have Talladega review and then Kansas and Darlington preview. So we're doing two previews this week because next week I am going on vacation and I am not going to give a fuck about this. Just kidding. Love y'all. But no, I'm going to be busy on vacation, so probably won't be able to see the race. So we're going to skip next week, and then in 2 weeks we'll come back and review Kansas and Darlington both. So it's going to be kind of a double episode. So we're going to have a double preview, none next week, double review. Alright, you caught up to speed. Don't leave us. We love you. But I am with my co-host, Brian. Brian, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Not bad. I was being lazy. I didn't feel like pulling my, podcast mic out, so we're just using this mic. So,
oh boy.
If I sound a little different, I'm using a different mic because I'm a lazy sack of shit. So, other than that, I guess we'll get on to Talladega. So, everyone's favorite track. Not everyone's. Everyone's, track that they watch on TV. We'll say that. Talladega was this weekend. Brad Keselowski wins Talladega, ties Dale Jr. and Jeff Gordon with 6 wins apiece at Talladega. Tied second all time, only trailing behind Dale Earnhardt. So, Keselowski made some history this weekend.
But good on him.
Yeah. So, we're going to get into all that and talk about everything that happened. And then we're going to do some news, answer some questions, and then we're going to preview Kansas and Darlington. So, might be a little longer episode. That's good. We want to listen to it like 5 times. So, you get everything our sweet mouths come out, say, and, the knowledge that you gain from this knowledgeable podcast, you take in real life and you win an Oscar. So, besides all that crap that I just said, we're going to go into Talladega. So, to start out, so basically the Toyotas were up to them cheating Yoda, namesake, except for Kyle Busch. So at the beginning of the race, the 11, 19, 20, and 23, and then the 96 were sent to the rear for unapproved adjustments. Sent to rear in Talladega really doesn't matter, because you can get up there in like 5 laps. So, but Hendrick Motorsports probably did some firings after Sunday, I would say, because apparently a metal plate between Kyle Larson's engine and then his radiator was blocking up air and just basically exploded his motor on lap 2 of 188. So whoever that guy was that forgot that, yeah, he's probably canned, to be honest.
Probably.
Yeah, so, well, hopefully, we'll get that guy on the podcast. He's not doing anything. We'll be like, dude, what are you doing? I'm just kidding. But I don't know how you forget that. So Kyle Larson had an early day. Thank God I didn't pick. If I would have picked Kyle Larson and that would have happened to me, oh my God, I would have stopped picking. I'd be like, yeah, I'm done. I would have been for real done. I'm like, no, that's it. And then we had, some action, some early on action. We had an early Joey Gay spin. Didn't really hurt anything. Bunched us all up. But at the end of stage 1, as you see on your screen right now, if you're watching this on YouTube, Joey Logano takes flight, flies in the air like Ricky Bobby-esque, flips. Honestly, that was probably the lightest flip I've ever seen. Like, he just gently just flipped over. He rolled over on his roof and then, came to a stop, thank God. Even though we don't like him here. We're not Logano fans. It's still great, to see him just walk out so quickly. Because I saw a picture on Twitter that he posted, like a bar was like going into his helmet, so that's scary. But good on Nascar for making these cars like way safer, so Joey Logano could just get out, and just do an interview right after. So that's good. Basically, what happened is they're all pushing to get to the end of the stage, and then in 3 and 4, looked like Hamlin was gonna make a quick move, and Stenhouse didn't know like to push him more or follow him. He just kind of shoved him into Logano. Yeah, Logano gets hooked, and then Stenhouse gets in his left rear. And when they're going into turn 3, the car's really light there. So, and then the car was turned back around, so backwards car. The ass is already light, so it's gonna flip. It's just gonna happen. It's aerodynamics. It's science. They're going 190 miles an hour, at least. So, yeah, the car's gonna probably take flight. But thankfully, Logano came out unharmed. He was pretty salty after his interview. I would be too, if I just flipped in the air. So that was after Logano. Matty D actually won Stage 1, get some good points for the Wood brothers. We'll get back to him later because he'll become a player. Another thing about... Okay, so with the plate tracks, Fox or NBC's got to do something with the commercials. We got to have the side-by-side 100%. I know that's not probably feasible at all. But we got to get something with these commercials, or an app where we can watch, the side by side or something, because, it's Talladega and Daytona. 2 minutes off the screen, you miss so much. You're like, oh my god, what the hell happened? So it was frustrating, some of the commercials, but we're used to that. And then Hamlin on a green flag pit stop. Basically just sped twice. I don't know how he said he couldn't stop or whatever. So he was having some brake trouble, it seemed like. And then Kurt Busch had a fire too, just randomly. I was listening to Radioactive yesterday, and as he went down pit road, and his crew chief's like, "Oh, you're good." And then he took off the tire, and there's a fire. And he's like, "Shut off, Kurt. You're not good. You're on fire." And it was kind of funny. And then going to the end of Stage 2, Keselowski moved up high in front of Hamlin, who was a lap down, and he was racing the leaders. Don't know why. He would have got his lap back because he was the first car lap down. But I guess he tried to get his lap back the old-fashioned way. And... just got hooked by the 19. Same kind of deal as the Stenhouse, Hamlin, Logano incident. The stage before. It's almost exactly like it, except no one flipped. Took out the Hendrick cars. Bowman got the worst of it. He was out of the race after. And then Chase and Byron soldiered on. But, yeah, and then Hamlin was pretty much out the race because he was all smashed, and it was 2 laps down and blah, blah, blah. So Hamlin wasn't really a player, so that was kind of surprising. But, he did it on his own, speeding through pit road. But Bubba Wallace got his first stage win of the year, so that's some positive momentum for the 2311 team, and for Zach. His team, his picks can't win actual races. We can win stages though. But
it's okay. None of my picks have won any races yet. So,
well, my side McDowell comment, one, I'm still hanging on to that with dear life. But and then we get to the final stage. So the first 20, 25 laps they did single file train on the top. We knew it was coming. But then after the pit road, they're getting racy. Green flag pit stops there after getting racy. And then Truex had a right rear flat with 5 laps to go. And then he didn't pit. He just went around. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to limp it. And then the tire went out and went on to the track. So we had overtime. And we had a surprise leader. He was actually leading last year at Talladega too. We had Matty D up in front, trying to get his first win, trying to get Wood Brothers' 100th win. Could this be the day? And then last lap, well, coming to the white, Matty D moved up high in front of Blaney when he should have stayed to the bottom with Keselowski. And then Keselowski just scooted past him, and then the top side, people were going 3 wide, couldn't really get a run and anything, and Keselowski wins. First I think 3 or 4 years. First year he's won. He's had some bad results at Talladega the last couple years, but Keselowski gets number 6 at Talladega.
Pretty eventful race.
Yeah, it was all the way. It was better than the Daytona 500.
Right. And we also had 3 crashes at the last lap with Jones, Busher, and Chastain. None of which were involved with each other. Mm-hmm. I think they were racing a little too hard and kind of got bumped and just kind of went their separate ways in a way.
Yeah, it's the end of Talladega. They're just gonna go at it, but
everybody looking for a couple positions to at least get some points or something. Just coming down to it,
Right. Yeah, it's just the end of play racing, or that last lap of play racing. But
then some people who we didn't really expect, well, I guess that's a lie. Some people who don't usually do as, I would say, outstanding as they did. We had Matty D with 42 points, a stage win, and a top 5 finish.
Yeah, he had a great day.
As well as somebody who's been having an amazing year, Michael McDowell. He had 45 points with a 3rd place finish.
I should have took McDowell, man. He's a real deal.
He's a real deal.
Honestly, when watching at the end of the race, I was screaming for McDowell. I'm like, come on, McDowell! Side draft him! Get him! Get him! I was rooting so hard for him. If he would have got 2 wins, my mind would have been blown. I would have been like, what? What?
We had another surprise top 10 with Kaz Grala.
Yeah, Kaulig did really good. And it's kind of funny that they announced something today that we'll get into. But, yeah, Kaulig they're doing really good in their limited time. Like, they're doing good on super speedways. And then I think they'll be racing at Coda, probably with Allmendinger. So they're doing fun. Yeah, they're doing road courses and super speedways. But, yeah, it was good seeing them up front. Talladega, you get more, like, players up there and stuff like that. So everyone we expected to be fast was fast, and then, shit happens at the end.
They had some surprise top 15 people.
Yeah, Mike Wheeler's like, oh, let's get tires with a lap to go. Bubba. But, yeah, it was a good race all in all. Talladega. There actually wasn't a big one. It was kind of surprising there was no big one. I mean,
surprising.
They don't have to have a big one to have a good race, as this race can tell. But, yeah, there's action all, 168 laps. I would say 20 laps, it was up top, run the train. Let's just log some laps. That happens every race, every plate race. There's going to be a train. We just don't want to train for 95% of the fucking race. But we got a train for 20 laps before the last pit stops. So that's fine. They're battling all day, getting runs, going high, going low, pushing that guy. It was awesome. So this race, best one of the season for me, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah. I'm giving it a 95. Because
wow.
Action all day. Not a lot of big wrecks, but we didn't need that. See, this proves, with Daytona, you had that big wreck so early that everyone's like, train. See, this one, we never had the big wreck. I mean, Logano flipped, and everyone's like, oh, whatever. Hamlet's like, let me do the same exact thing again. 60 laps later. What happened? But yeah, it was. I mean, action packed all day. There's no train. The commercials sucked. I mean, it sucks with every one of these races, but yeah, it was the best race of the year, man. Honestly, I don't know how you if you come from this race and you're like, oh, this was bad. You're not a NASCAR fan, dude. Go watch something else. Go watch some fucking paint dry or something. So this race was awesome. I love Talladega, one of my favorite tracks. But yeah, I'll give it a 95 out of 100. Almost a perfect score.
That's crazy. See, I agree, but I disagree.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yes, I think it was probably top 2 races of this year. I don't think it was the best, and I was kind of contemplating between an 85 and a 90. But I think, especially with how much happened throughout the race, and we didn't just see one leader. I mean, we saw a good amount of different lead changes. And I mean, it was clean racing for a good while. We had, I don't know, I had a lot of fun watching it. I said a 90 out of 100 instead of a 95. So it's still, I mean, yeah, it's still one of our highest races.
That's still great. It's it's only a 90. That's still great. If you would have been 70 or 65, I would have been okay.
The lowest I was going on that was an 85. Because, I mean, it was definitely something to watch. And it's not it's the same drivers in the top 5. I mean, we had, I'd argue, 3 people who shouldn't really be there with the way that they were performing this year.
Yeah, that freaking William Byron guy.
Well, Kevin Harvick. I mean, even though he's been carrying SHR, he's I don't know. The car just hasn't been that great this year.
They're having more speed recently, and I'm just kidding. Yeah. I'm just kidding on William Byron. I mean, he's having an amazing season. 8 straight top 10s. I don't want some of the comments to be what's the guy talking about? William Byron's 4th in points. What are you talking about? Okay, we get it. But, yeah, no, he's having a great season, but I was just kidding with that. But, yeah, I mean, Talladega, it's a great equalizer. Anyone can win. Right. I mean, 32 out of probably 30. Wow. How many cars we have? 36? 36 cars?
There were 40 this race.
Oh, so I mean, we don't count Starcom or Rick Ware.
Hey, but I will say Quinn Hoff was actually running pretty well that race.
Yeah, he was top 20.
And then he had that incident, but
we have a surprise appearance from Diamond. She's saying, "Peace, y'all." Diamond, was that a good race?
It was.
She didn't watch any of it, but good answer. Because it actually was. But, yeah, we're going to move on from Talladega. Oh, and our picks. So, my pick won a stage. He finished 19th. So, we finished below Brian, but we gained 5 points. Oh, now we're only 3,000 behind. So, we're making gains little by little. But, yeah, other than that, great race. Talladega, that was awesome. So, now we go into Kansas and Darlington. But before we get into that, we're gonna talk about some news. So, there's a lot of, the first thing was yesterday, NASCAR Next Gen cars leaked out a picture. So the Ford looks really mean. It looks like a super late model Ford, but it's I think it's the Shelby variant of the Ford, but it looks really cool. The Camaro almost looks identical, I would say. Except, it has the next-gen parts, but it pretty much looks identical. So we saw a little glimpse of the two cars. We haven't seen the Toyota yet, so we don't know what that's going to look like. And then we have a lot of throwback schemes. So we'll scroll through some. So the first one was we have an Xfinity throwback scheme. Michael Annett, driver for number 1 of Junior Motorsports. always hits it out the park with schemes. They chose a Gatorade style 1979 Darrell Waltrip car. I mean, it looks pretty much identical. They have Gatorade on it. I love when sponsors can, the original sponsors can make it on the car. So that's awesome that Gatorade is on it. And then we had a Ricky Bobby scheme from Tyler Ankrum. Looks exactly like the Wonder Bread car in the movie. And then we got a William Byron Neil Bonnet scheme with Valvoline. They changed the number font to everything to mimic that 75. Looks cool. And yeah, we just had a lot of throwback schemes. And then Dale Jr. revealed his Pro Invitational scheme. He has a Hellman's Wrangler styled car from his dad. So looks pretty cool. So a lot of throwback schemes this week for news. And then the big drop this week was from Colleague Racing. They said they're going to go full-time Cup Series racing in 2022. So does that mean they're going to get a charter from Rick Ware? Are they going to be? I don't think they're going to be open team, but where are they going to get their charter? Because 2311 wants to expand. We have some other Xfinity teams talking about moving up. Is Junior Motorsports going to move up? So, Colleague Racing, but plans to race full time next year in the Cup Series. So that'd be cool. It's kind of cool. It's a hometown guy. He is from Ohio and stuff, and everything. His business is based in Ohio as well. So, a little hometown crowd, Brian, over here.
There you go.
Trying to get in the Cup Series, man. So, other than that, not a lot of news items. Some drivers showing that they got the vaccine, so that's always good. But other than that, just a lot of throwback schemes, and then Colleague dropping that ball. So that was pretty much it for the news. Now we'll move on to our questions. So, with only 2 races left with this current Aero Super Speedway package, they're not going to change it, obviously. Why would you change it for the last 2 races? Fans like it. It's awesome. But what should they do with the next-gen cars? Should they, slow the cars more in the pack? Maybe make it less of it likely getting in the air? Should they leave it alone? Have something similar? Because, it's not going to be the same thing, probably. But, something similar with the runs and how the pack is? Or should they go to how they used to do the draft package? So, about 2013 to 2018-19, we had more or less a bubble in between the cars. They wouldn't be pushing, there would just be a bubble of air, and you just push that bubble, and that would send the car forward. So, Brian, what do you think they should do with this aero package? Should they leave it alone? Make the cars slower, so maybe less likely to flip, or maybe have the cars not bump as much, essentially.
This is kind of a touchy subject, because one little thing you could ruin the whole package.
Right.
I don't think that they should slow the cars, even though, flip's dangerous, but with how far they've come to protecting the driver, I feel like most of that would be thrown out of the window. Most of your current day racing, where it's supposed to be faster driving, is just going to be gone. I don't think people would leave because of that, but I think some people would be a little less interested in it. Not saying everybody, obviously, but there are people who are just in it for the speed, in a way. Leaving the package alone, I don't think that would be a terrible idea, because obviously, like you said, they're not going to just take this package and flip it over. It would be more of, they'll take off of it and then be like, oh, well, here's what we can do to improve this.
Yeah, they'll take notes from. They're not going to stick a big spoiler on the next. They might. I don't know. They might have a 12-foot spoiler.
I don't know about that.
I mean, they're not going to take. It's not going to be exactly the same because it's a whole new
Right.
car, you know.
Right. And then the whole bubble argument, while I think that would be fun to watch, I feel like what they have now is a good concept too, making bump drafting more feasible.
Oh no, this yeah, the bubble air, they don't get to their bumpers.
That's what I mean. Yeah, because the idea of bump drafting is fun. I mean, of course it's a little bit more dangerous, I guess you could say, because you have that chance of going maybe a little bit too far out, a little bit too far in, and then just a turn because you're right at their bumper. But no,
Right.
I think the bubble that they get now is when they're close to the wall, right? So
They get okay. So when they draft, I'm gonna use this off of iRacing. So when they get close, there is a bit of a bubble. Like the front car really has to drag the brake a little bit so the other car can get there. So then the other car can kind of shove them towards
but correct me
right
if I'm
around.
wrong. There, especially during like qualifying in an open field, basically, the bubble that they get of air would be from the wall, right?
Well,
And that kind of propels forward.
they do get a bubble, but that's just because of Gen 6.
Okay.
So this current gen of car, they have a bit of a bubble already. Because I forget what exactly it is. I'm not an expert, but it's something like how the car is shaped on the right side
Okay.
with the wall. Like they have more. It's called side force in between the wall and then their car. So that pocket of air makes more side force. So then the car is more or less more stable than like older cars and stuff. So just with this car, they have more stability and stuff with it because of that side force. But that doesn't affect the drafting. The drafting, when the car is pushing, there's like a little bubble. But then when the car in front drags the brakes a little bit, so rides the brakes, so he slows down, the car then gets a run and he can connect on the bumper, so then he could shove him towards him. But if you'll see guys side draft, like get really close to him, like side by side and stuff, they're basically getting on that right rear fender because it's so delicate with the air. So they're trying to get on the right rear corner panel, and basically they want to suck up to it. So then they take the air off the take the air off their nose to the spoiler. So basically it just slows them down. It's like them just grabbing the right rear and just pulling them back.
Okay.
Is what they're doing with the side drafting and stuff. You'll see him like go like chase him down and try to get on the right rear, and then the bottom guy tries to chase him up and get on his. So they're just manipulating the air so they can try to slow the other guy down. They're not trying to go. They're not going to go faster with it. They're just trying to slow the other guy down, so then they could get the run and then get up in front.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, even still off of that, I still kind of I like and I don't like the package now, but I think I like it more than I don't.
What are some things you dislike about it? Just wondering.
I just feel like, I mean, obviously for some tracks it's going to be different, but the flat out package where there's not necessarily, I don't know how to explain it without sounding dumb or like,
hey man,
you're new to NASCAR, but
hey,
no, like,
just explain it however you want, dude. Because
right.
I just explain fucking air like I'm a scientist or whatever, and they're gonna be like, "You're bang."
You've brought this up before to me, right? So,
well, okay, okay. Sorry to interrupt you. Before you get into it, the super speedway package, and then the package we have a mile and a half. That's a whole different package.
Oh no, I know. I know that's different, but
Okay.
what I'm trying to think of is like, so you're getting a run, right?
Mm-hmm.
And while you're sucking the air from one car trying to get bolted forward, it just feels it feels almost like there's less of a I don't want to say skill range because you still have to be very skilled to drive these cars.
You're right. I mean,
But I mean, you're basically flat out for at least 50% of this race. If you're not flat out, then you're just lifting a little bit, you know. So
yeah. With
I don't. It's ovals, so it is a completely different story, especially coming from an open wheel background kind
yeah.
of. So it's just little things that I feel like I would tweak, but at the same time, not everybody would like those tweaks.
Yeah. So okay. So with the super, so you have a point of it being less skilled. It does. Like you don't have to be that skilled. I mean, you still have to be skilled, but you have to be less skilled than before, like 10, 15 years ago. With these cars, I'll try to explain this. So on the mile and a halves, with like essentially Kansas and like Vegas and stuff like that, when you're full throttle, that's where you are like full throttle, like through the turns and stuff. We want off throttle time, so like we want cars to like get on the brake and stuff, because we want power down the back stretch and like the front stretch, so then the car shoots into the corner, but we want them to like shoot like be too fast in the corner, so they got to use the brake and gas, and they kind of manage it. Like we want that. We want off throttle time. So with these cars, essentially having that 550 horsepower, they don't make enough power going down the straight to be able to like get off throttle or brake, or if they're off throttle for a millisecond.
Yeah.
Because the corner speeds are way faster than they used to be. So like, I don't know, example for Vegas, like maybe in Vegas like 10, 15 years ago, we're going 155 in the corners. I don't know exactly if that's what it was, but it's around, like, so let's say something like that. Now, since they're going only 180 or 185 on the straightaway, and then the corner speeds are pulling out 170, so they only have to get off the gas a little bit. So we want more horsepower, so the car can drive down the straight, and then they'll have to, let up or hit the brake and stuff. And then it's just this kind of fight, like who can get back to their gas first, Who has the balls to do it? Like, we want that. See, with the Super Speedway package, any packages are going to be full throttle, like on the plate tracks and stuff. The only time you're really off throttle is when you're behind someone and just following them, and you don't want to check up like the line. That's the only time you're kind of following half throttle. And then if you're the car out front, though, you're full throttle all the way. So no matter what you do with the plate package, you're always going to be full throttle, because
Right.
the track, it's just, you have to be. But with the mile and a half, like a Kansas or something like that, we want to make more horsepower. So the cars will shoot down the straightaway at like 190, 200, 205 miles an hour. So then they have to brake to 150 instead of going 180 down the straight and then 170 in the turn. So it doesn't make the side-by-side racing, because basically everyone's going the same speed.
Right.
But with the old like kind of package, it would be who has the big kahunas, or who has, the better handling car, who can stick in the gas first. Because you would hear a lot of that. It's like, who can get in the gas first? Is it going to be blah, 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 or blah, blah, blah? And, you kind of see. So that's what we mostly want with the package. I would say a majority of the fans. We do want the off-throttle time. I mean, I don't care if it's 15 horsepower. It's just these cars have too much downforce. right now. So they're just stable. Like, they're too stable. You know, we got to make them a little more edgy, a little faster. Or, you know, take that big-ass spoiler off. And then we can have more side-by-side racing. But then, you know, every race it's not going to be a fucking home run. You know, there's going to be boring races.
Right.
There's always going to be a boring race. We're going to be like, that was boring. Like, Truex is going to win one race by 15 seconds. We're going to be like, ugh. Like, it's going to happen, but I'd rather I'd rather see a driver more show his skill, you know. I'm not saying you don't have to be skilled, because, I mean, if you didn't, then I could just jump in the fucking car and win, you know.
Right.
That would never happen. I would not even get off pit road.
And I mean, it would literally be celebrities, not just, random NASCAR drivers, yeah. People that have been doing this for all their lives.
Yeah, so it's just we just want either less downforce, off throttle time, and you know, make the cars a little more edgy, and then stop with these fucking the same corner speeds. Like, I think that's more dangerous to me. Like, going 175 in a corner, oh, you blow a right front, you know. I mean, you know, maybe that 20 miles an hour is the difference between something. But regarding, I didn't think we'd get on a package tangent, but regarding the super speedway package, I would say, I mean, I don't know, maybe you can make the cars slower in a pack. I mean, it would probably be the same racing if they're going like 180, 185 in the pack, but it just, with this package, it makes it so exciting to watch. You don't want to touch it, like, as a fan perspective. But then it's also like, I mean, if you really want to get into it, like, then maybe we shouldn't be racing on these, because it's just science how fast we're going at these, like, big tracks. And, you know, when the car turns around and the rear is facing towards the wind, and it's going to start to lift up, no matter if you're going 180, 190, 195, 200, whatever speed you're going, you know, it's going to lift up. Just
and who knows, you make it faster, it might be even more dangerous for the driver.
Yeah, it's just hard to say, but I wouldn't touch it personally, I would say.
Yeah.
Because these races are too exciting, like, and plus NASCAR, like, let's be real here, is more entertainment than sport, you know, with the playoffs. I don't even want to get into that. And you know, showing crashes like this, like, oh, this guy flipped. Like, I mean, they want people that like, of course, the fans, the hardcore fans, they want those. But they also want people, did you see that NASCAR flip? And then they'd be on, like, Sports Center or something. But, yeah, I wouldn't touch the package, to be honest. You know, just, I would say maybe the next gen cars, maybe they can go a little slower on these plate tracks. See, I could see them going a little slower on the plate tracks, because I can't really tell the difference between 185 and 195. But, like, on a mile and a half, like, you can tell the difference on how the cars race and stuff. With these, I mean, they're all in a big fucking pack anyway. I'm like, oh, wow, it's only going 182. Oh, this is trash. But
I mean, it's different when there's two cars next to each other. One's going 195, one's going 185. But when it really comes down to it, how are you going to notice that difference?
Right, so, like, if they don't show, like, you know how sometimes they show the Fox box, like, oh, Kyle Busch is going 195, but Ryan Blaney's going 189, so he's going to pass him. If they're all going like 185, 180 or something like that, we're not going to be able to tell. We're going to be like, oh, well, that was pretty awesome. I mean, and then when they show the speeds, they'll be like, oh, they're going slower. Oh, okay, this racing's so awesome, so who cares?
Yeah.
So, I don't know, you know. I'm not an engineer or anything like that. I don't know. That's as a fan's perspective what I would think. But now our next question. Will Matt Benedetto ever win a race? No. Next question. I mean,
I kind of hope he does, but I don't think he will.
I don't want to be hard on the guy, but I guess it depends on this next ride, because you gotta sometimes capitalize on these. I mean, he's had some good chances,
Yeah.
but
I mean, so has Denny. You could argue that, especially this year.
Yeah, but then he's also won 40 races.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
plus he's also leading by what, like 30 points right now in playoffs. I think
it's like 60 or something.
Yeah, I know it's an outrageous amount. It's kind of crazy.
It's just like, Denny Hamlin can win. Like Kevin Harvick hasn't won. We know Kevin Harvick can win. He's won 60 races, or Kyle Busch even. Like, we know they can win, but it's just like someone like Benedetto.
Yeah.
You just wonder, like, can he? Because he's been in a couple of these situations where he's had the chance, but something's happened, or he maybe did a wrong move or something like that. It's just, you start to wonder, like, how many more chances is this guy going to get?
Right.
Because we don't know what he's going to do next year. Like, he doesn't have a ride right now, and we don't know what he's going to drive or anything like that, but
right.
I mean, I hope he wins. He seems like a good guy.
I kind of hope he wins too. That would be really nice to see.
I mean, he could prove me wrong and just win a random race. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
But
and just an update, Denny is leading the playoffs by 87.
Yeah, so Denny could just, chill out for these two races. He'd be like, all right,
right.
See ya, Martin.
Even this past race was not that crazy.
I don't even know who's second in points.
Truex.
See ya, Martin. We'll see ya next week. We'll see you at Coda. I'll still be leading. But, yeah, I mean, I hope he does win. That would be a nice story. But, yeah, now we get the big preview. Kansas and Darlington. So we're going to make picks and dark horse picks for both races. So I'm probably going to forget who I pick anyway, so what does it matter? Kansas is a good track.
The Bushy McBush race.
I have Jesus. Jesus. I feel like such a boomer, but Jesus, come on. I want to know what boomers think about. Like, do boomers even know? Can we get a resident boomer on the podcast? Does anyone know any boomers? That want to be on a podcast?
Just give us the thoughts on Twitter.
Yeah, just send a boomer tweet at us. What do you think about the Bushy McBush 400? But yeah, Kansas gonna be a good race. It is using the high downforce package. So, but Kansas is in a good state right now. I wish it was a night race. It seems like this package works better at night. But day race should be pretty good. Hopefully it won't be like last fall where Joey Logano just basically stayed in front of Kevin Harvick and he couldn't do anything. Hopefully that does not happen. It depends. It depends on the weather. It's so, dependent on stuff. It's like, come on.
A lot of variables.
Yeah, it's just like, get in the car and race. But, yeah, Kansas should be fun, I think. And then Darlington, we're using the low downforce package, which is awesome. We're using all 750 ponies under that. That would be a boomer. We're using 750 ponies under my Toyota Camry.
Darlington's fun to watch too. So
Darlington is my favorite track because it's just hard. It runs one lane. You can't run two lanes, and it's just like people will be like, "Oh, that's a bad race," but it's just so weird and it's so unique, and it's the throwback weekend, and you got one side of the turns that are totally different, and then the other side of the track's totally different because they had to go around Old Man John's fucking pond in 1950, but they didn't just move the pond; they went around the fucking pond. So, Old Man John still has his pond because of Darlington. Just wants to go around it. So, totally unique, different sides of the track. You get your Darlington stripe, the Lady in Black, Too Tough to Tame, all the nicknames, Throwback Weekend. I mean, how can you not love Darlington? Darlington is such a spectacle of racing. It's just, if this ever goes anywhere, which I'm surprised actually it has. Like, we actually have loyal viewers. So thank you to all that have
honestly, thank you.
listened. I don't know why you've listened to this garbage. I mean, you just listen to me talk about air for 25 minutes. So
hey, but at the very least, we appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. I'm very sarcastic, but it's really like heartwarming to see, people actually listen. Might cry over here, but no, we thank y'all. But yeah, if this does, we want to go to Darlington. That would be the race. We got to see. I would even see the playoffs one. I could go to send me to Darlington. We'll report. I mean, somewhat. We might be.
It'll be so fun, dude.
We might be a little hammered, but just imagine us drunk. We're making a podcast. hey, sir, you want to be on a podcast?
We need to hear what you think about today's Darlington race.
What you think about that pond, John? What do you think about that old pond?
Oh boy!
I wish this was maybe Darlington's review. It'll just be Old Man John's pond. And then people will be like, "What are they talking about?" It'll be Old Man John's pond and Kansas.
There you go.
But yeah, Kansas. Good mile and a half. Should be good 2 races. It seems like this package does work better at night. So we'll have 2 different packages too. So we'll kind of see that. Kansas. I had this marked down on my calendar for one reason, because I know my driver. His best track is Kansas. Almost got his first career win. Thanks, Brad, for stealing it. So it's going to be the opposite this time. It's Alex Bowman getting that win for that 48.
Oh, boy.
And a dark horse, I think, is going to be... no, I'm looking at an 8 on my screen right now. And, 8 divided by 2 equals 4. But then, 4 plus 4 equals 8. And you know who's double the skill of Kevin Harvick? Tyler Reddick. So we're going with Tyler Reddick for that was so terrible. I should edit that out, but I'm not. But Tyler Reddick is my dark horse pick. So those are my picks for Kansas.
My picks are completely different.
Tyler Reddick, Alex Bowman.
No, I'm going to take your dark horse, and you know how you divided by 2, and then added 4. I'm just going to add a 1 to that. Picking good old Chase.
4 plus 1 equals 5.
What? I said from your dark horse. All right, dude.
I know.
All right, whatever. And then my dark horse is going to be Cole Custer, because
Cold Custard.
These two thrive on this track for some reason. Kind of weird, but
till he finishes 25th.
Yeah, exactly. And then until Bowman finishes 38th.
Yeah, no. No, he'll be running, he'll be running P1, and then, he'll run out of gas.
There you go.
But now we move on the big boy track, Darlington.
Old Darlington.
I wish we could have went over some more throwback schemes, because I love throwback schemes. But, yeah, Darlington, what we said before, unique track. It's too tough to tame. And we're going to have the low downforce package. So we're going to have some awesome racing. Darlington is always fun. Unique track. We're going with the unique man. He took both Darlington races last year. So we're taking old number 4, Kevin Harvick, the veteran, the closer. Where did he come from? He's gonna come and take Darlington away from anyone else. And then for a dark horse, I had to think about it. What's 4 plus a number?
Oh my goodness. 4 plus any number?
Yeah,
One, you're going to say Kyle Larson.
No. 4 plus, I had to do some head math. 4 plus, a Clint Boyer number. 33. 37 we're taking. Ryan Preece. Dark horse. Open car. Open your mind.
Ryan Preece has had actually a pretty solid year so far.
Yeah, he's about 20th, or around 20th in points, so pretty good, nice year back up year from JTG, as he had a terrible year last year, but hopefully he can turn around and keep on chugging.
As for my Darlington Winner and dark horse, I went with the man who we both said hope he wins a race, but we don't think will unless he gets a new team. And that is Matt D. Benedetto.
Whoa! Matty D, 2-1. 2-1 into 1 equals P1? Oh, God. This is terrible.
and then my dark horse with arguably my favorite driver, Ryan Newman.
I really thought you were about to say Joey Gase. Ryan Newman, number 6.
Yeah.
Pick 6 equals touchdown for the other team equals no-go for Ryan Newman. Oh, God. Oh, I'm sorry. But I had those
viewers.
Hey, man, you don't get us for 2 weeks, so you better, take that and run. But wow. So those are our picks. We're probably gonna forget. I'm gonna forget everything I said, and just look at myself in the mirror and just be like, "What am I?"
Hey, to be fair, I already forgot everything you said.
Because you have amnesia. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Brian, we're not supposed to talk about our medical problems. I'm just kidding, but maybe I have amnesia. But I got a little goofy. But
boy.
Thank you guys for listening to our podcast again.
As always.
Reminder, we'll be off for 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, we will be back to review all the weekend's happenings. Go over some news. And then answer a lot of questions. And go over our picks. And see how we did. And then I'll talk about my vacation for about 55 minutes. About how I went to Kyle Petty's house and I just talked to him about air. And then I'll just play that. I don't even know if he lives in Daytona. He probably doesn't. But anyhow, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. So we'll see ya.
See ya.